So you might be moving from the United States to the United Kingdom. Good old Blighty. But what taxes do you need to think about when you are moving to the UK? Hi everyone, my name is Simon Misiewicz from Optimised Accountants, and in this video I'm going to be talking about paying taxes in the UK as an American. So if you're moving from the United States of America to the rainy parts of the UK, good luck, take your umbrella. But also you do need to think about taxation as well. So let's have a look at the elements of tax that you need to consider. You might be thinking, well, am I needing to pay tax in the United Kingdom? Am I resident? I've done another video on that subject, so do check out our YouTube video and our website for more details about the tax residency in the UK, remittance basis and domicile. Very good subject, but I'm going to go through this aspect to assume that you are indeed in the UK and you are tax resident. Okay, so let's think about this. What do you need to think about when you are an American moving over to the United Kingdom, or good old Blighty, as you might hear many people call it? So the tax ranges does go from 0% to 45%, which is a lot more than what you are used to paying in the United States. So straight away, I would be telling you is that you are likely to pay more tax in the United Kingdom than you do in the US of A. And likely that you will be earning less as well. So two things for you to consider: earn less, pay more tax. If I've not put you off already, I'm not sure what will. Okay, let's go through then in terms of the details of the type of taxes that you'll pay in the United Kingdom. If you are self-employed, you earn money from self-employment, then you will be paying tax. That's different from being an employee. So in the UK, we have PAYE, which stands for pay as you earn. Your employer would automatically take off your wages, your income tax and national insurance contributions, which you will consider FICA in the United States. Very similar to the UK, but again, please note that it is slightly more. 6.25 in America, 12% in the UK as a ballpark figure. A lot more. So the big thing for you to think about is if you are an American selling assets in the UK, it will be subject to capital gains tax. Don't forget, it will also be subject potentially to tax in the US by the IRS. So you might need to think about tax credits in that regard and how you can offset that tax liability. You might have to, if you've got foreign income, again, do look at my other videos about remittance basis charges, because you may be subject to tax in the UK for your American earnings, but there are ways around that by using the remittance basis. Too much detail to go through in this video, but do check out that video where I talked about it before. If you have property in the UK or overseas, again, remittance basis covers the foreign properties, but if you have UK properties, you will pay taxation in the UK. Now, please do note that in the UK, you do not have things like depreciation, which you do get in the USA by the IRS. So you get some amazing tax reliefs in the United States, but not so much in the UK. So if you're buying buy-to-let properties, that's not going to be there for you. We also have this Section 24 issue, so we don't even allow you to offset all of your mortgage interest costs that you suffered as a result of buying this property investment, or you might call it real estate. So let's just go through some other things that as an American living abroad, you might have to file FBAR and 8938. If you've got now bank accounts in the UK, pension accounts, etc., you might have to now start putting in your FBAR and 8938 forms as well. So don't forget to submit those as part of your tax filing season. And again, you can work with us to go and do that. Okay, so let's think about what are the basics for Americans living in the UK. I want you to read this material, but I'm just going to whiz by this. Who needs to do a tax return? So in America, you need to do a tax return irrespective, pretty much. If you've got earnings over your standard deduction allowance or standard allowance, whatever you might call it, you will have to do a 1040. In the UK, that's not always the case. So if you're just an employee in the UK, you don't have to do a tax return unless you earn more than 100,000. That's completely different to the way it works in the United States. You would have to do a tax return. Please note that even though you don't need to do a tax return if you're an employee earning £80,000, you still would need to do your 1040 tax return. That does not get you away from that at all. And that's when you need to think about the foreign tax credits or the foreign earned income exclusions. So speak to our enrolled agents or certified accountants to talk about that in more detail. Now, in the UK, you can have self-employment profit of £1,000, but you don't need to pay tax on that, and you don't have to really declare that to HMRC. But once you go over £1,000, then you would need to do a tax return. Again, in the US, that would still be subject to tax by the IRS. So be careful to think about, well, hold on, I don't need to pay tax in the UK. Do I need to pay tax in the US? Yes, you do. They are two different systems. You sadly do need to pay those taxes. Not very nice, really, but it is what it is. Just one thing on this. It's not in this article, I don't think, but ISA accounts, so individual savings accounts in the UK, is tax-free for income and capital gains tax purposes. But did you know that it is not allowed for the USA? So you have to declare any money that you earn from that ISA account, and you declare that on your 1040 tax return, and you'll be taxed on it. So it's possible that you pay tax in the USA, but not in the UK. And the same goes for your pension contributions. If you're an employee and you do salary sacrifice as an example, then that element of the employer contribution and your deduction from your wages for the pension would still need to be declared to the IRS. You do not get away from that. So just bear that in mind. So as a key highlight, it says what other instances, but it's a nice highlight here. Income from renting property only if it's over £1,000. There are some other nuances, but typically you don't have to pay tax on that. But once you go over £1,000 worth of profit, then you do. I would always say that if you have UK property income, that you should do a tax return, because you may well have losses to carry forward, which you could lose if you don't track it. So do a tax return anyway, is my view. Profits earned from selling shares, second home or assets resulting in a capital gain. Yes, of course, you will pay capital gains tax, but you do get this nice £12,300 capital gains tax exemption, which you need to think about in the US, because then you get taxed in the US as well. So do bear that in mind. Income earning £100,000 or more, we've already talked about that, so I'm not going to worry about that. We've also covered off the fact that you need to declare your income on your IRS 1040 tax return. If you are an American living in the UK, you don't have to file your tax return by April 15th. You would file it automatically. You get a 2-month extension to June 15th. Okay, so you can get a further extension if you needed to, especially if you're a first-time expat. You can get it extended all the way to December 15th. But please note that filing your tax returns, deferring that, does not mean you pay your taxes late. It still has to be paid by April 15th. Okay, so bear that in mind. HMRC. So we have a different tax system to the USA, whereby the tax year starts from the 6th of April to the following 5th of April, and your tax return needs to be submitted to HMRC electronically by the 31st of January the following year, and the tax liability also needs to be paid by the 31st of January. So that's really, really important. Now, if you want to use the tax exclusion or the foreign tax credits, you might want to think about, well, do I pay my tax around in the December in line with the US tax system, so that I can then use the foreign tax credits, which I can then roll forward. So that could be a very good tax advantage for you to do your tax returns a little bit earlier as an American, so that you can look at how much tax you've got to be paying in the UK, how much money you can then use as a tax credit to offset against your US tax return, which then would be filed by the June 15th the following year. So a bit of tax planning and timing really is going to be important for you. I've covered the tax return dates, so I'm not going to go on to that. What is a tax treaty? Tax treaty just means that whatever tax you pay in the United States, you will likely to get a tax credit in the UK and vice versa, okay? But I think I've covered that off already in this video. And that brings me to a close on this. So if you think about moving to the UK from the United States, then you want to think about taxation. Read this article in a bit more detail, and I'll be sure to follow this video up with more details in the future. Hopefully that video was useful for you, but please do not stop there. There are plenty of videos that I know that will help you build your wealth whilst reducing your tax liability. And in this video, well, this is the one I think you should be watching right now.